2 months ago, I had no idea my life was about to change forever. Spoiler alert, I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, and it turned my world upside down, let me tell you. For those who may not know, ulcerative colitis is a type of inflammatory bowel disease that causes inflammation and ulcers in the large intestine or the colon. While the exact cause is unknown, factors like genetics could increase your risk. I wanted to make this video to share my story. My hope is that other people struggling with colitis or similar illnesses can relate to this story and find hope that things will get better. I'll walk you through my symptoms, the ups and downs of my diagnosis, my hospital experience, and how I'm recovering now. Alright, let's get into the story. This all started near the end of my Pacific Crest Trail hike in the States. I began experiencing cramping and diarrhea while I was on the trail, and I knew something was off and that as soon as I got back to Canada that I would go see my doctor. After discussing my backcountry travels with the doctor, we initially thought that it could be a bacterial infection or even a parasite. So what we decided to do was 4 stool samples, and unfortunately while those samples were getting tested, my symptoms became worse and worse. I was going to the bathroom maybe 15 or 20 times a day, even waking up multiple times throughout the night. I was also experiencing a stabbing pain in my lower left abdomen, always in that left side. My bowel movements became bloody, I was even throwing up, and I knew something was very, very wrong. I visited the ER and the doctor mentioned that it could be IBD. I would need to have a colonoscopy to confirm this though. Unfortunately, it was scheduled weeks away and I couldn't fast track it. While I was waiting, my symptoms became unbearable. I wasn't eating, I was losing weight rapidly, and I could barely walk from my bed to the bathroom. At this point, I had to return to the hospital. During my 2-week stay, I had an emergency colonoscopy, which confirmed that I had ulcerative colitis. I was started on IV steroids, but after several days, my symptoms weren't improving enough to switch to the oral medication. It felt like 1 step forward and 2 steps back. Just when I thought things couldn't get worse, I actually ended up getting COVID in the hospital. Like, come on. I was quarantined in my hospital room. I couldn't see friends or family. I didn't really want them to visit just for the risk factor. And I couldn't even like walk around the hospital like I was before or go outside. I was just trapped in the room. At that point, I was just really, really at a low point. That was the worst part. After a couple of days, my COVID symptoms were mild enough to try biologics, which is a treatment involving an IV infusion. I was a bit nervous to try the biologics, but I agreed that it was the best course of action for my symptoms and the severity in my case. And finally, some good news. After about 48 hours, my symptoms improved and my bowel movements became more formed. I hadn't had a solid bowel movement in over 7 weeks at that point. Oh my god. I was so relieved and excited to tell my friends and family, my poop isn't liquid anymore, I'm not having diarrhea. After a few days, I was discharged from the hospital and I went up to the family cottage to quarantine there with my dad, who also got COVID from visiting me in the hospital. I was weak at this point, but I was really determined on trying to get better. I started walking a little bit every day, I was still eating carefully, and I was trying to rebuild my strength. So all this kind of occurred about 3 weeks ago. I'm now back in my dad's basement, in the room that I grew up in. Since I quit my job, gave up my apartment to hike the Pacific Crest Trail, I'm starting over in more ways than one, that's for sure. I'm still on oral steroids right now, and that comes with some tough side effects like anxiety and poor sleep. They make it hard to have a normal routine, let alone maybe trying to do a job interview or exercise. The good news is I'm pretty much symptom free right now. My bowel movements are normal and I barely have any cramping right now. I had my second IV infusion of the biologics last week, and I have another one scheduled in 3 weeks from now. I'm hopeful that as I taper off those oral steroids, that my sleep and anxiety will improve. This has definitely been one of the hardest things I've ever had to deal with in my life, but I'm hopeful for the future. Ulcerative colitis is manageable and treatable, and I'm trying to find my new normal with it. It's definitely possible to live normally and find balance with this condition. I also want to thank the incredible nurses and doctors at the hospital and my family doctor for helping me through this ordeal. Definitely professional, they explained things well to me, and I felt like they truly did care about how I was feeling and trying to help me get better. I definitely could not have made it through without their support, and also all my friends and family that came and visited me and messaged me. Thank you. If you're dealing with colitis or other similar illnesses, let me know in the comments. What's your story? And maybe there's some helpful advice from me as I kind of start this new normal. Thank you so much for listening to my story. It definitely helps me to express my story and how I felt and share it with you. Also, I want to mention, if you are experiencing symptoms like mine, please seek medical attention and get the care and support that you need. All right, that's it for now. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.